Hey everybody, this is Tom again in Western North Carolina. Going to do the next step on how to make a chair, and I'm just going to see how far we get on it. It's going to be the part about how to make the pegs and maybe installing the pegs if there's enough time. Anyways, you got to make your pegs, and how I go about it is get a piece of wood and I save pieces of wood from the chair. And I'm looking for pieces of wood that have fairly large growth rings, because I don't want there to be a lot of spring wood in the peg. And ideally the peg would be 100% late wood, but hardly ever can find a growth ring that big, so usually it's two late woods with one spring wood, and I try to put the spring wood right in the middle of the peg. I don't want the spring wood to be on the edge of the peg because it'll just break off or something. So anyways, you get your piece, and this piece is a little bit short, but I like to usually use a piece about 4 inches long, and that way I can get about 4 pegs out of a piece. But anyways, I've got a special knife that I use for splitting, and I split the pieces. And you want to split them maybe about a quarter inch square, something like that. Anyways, I've got one here split out from another piece of wood, but I've got this little set up here, and this is just a square, and I use it for my stop. And what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to completely do it because it's too boring to watch, but what I do is I very carefully plane that down until it's square. And here's one that's planed down. And I've already got a peg on this end. I'll hide it right now. But anyways, I've got that planed down square, and it's not focusing in too good. But anyways, I've got it so the growth ring, the spring wood, is right in the center. And I planed that down to 13/64. I don't know why that won't focus, but maybe it will. There you go. See if I can get, there's the end of my thing. It's hard to tell, but the growth ring is right in the middle of that. And it's 13/16 both ways. And the hole that you're going to drill in the chair is 12/64. That's 3/16, I think. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 3/16. So this is just a little bit oversized from that. And then the next step, once you've got this piece square, you can whittle a peg onto the end of it. And here's a peg that I've already whittled. I'm not very good at this close-up stuff. But anyways, you might be able to see a line on there. In that line, I've drawn that line on there at 5/8 of an inch. And that's basically about how deep we're going to drill the hole. And this peg gets whittled. You start at that line and you whittle that peg from that line down from there, and this whole bottom part here becomes round. But then right here at the 5/8 inch mark, fairly sharply, you transition to square. Anyways, once you get one whittled on this end, you can go ahead and whittle one on this end. And then you've still got good material in the middle. You saw these off, you know, leaving yourself a head on there, maybe a heavy 1/8 of an inch or so. Cut those off, and then you can whittle 2 more. And I usually try to make these long enough to get about 4 pegs out of them, each one. Anyways, and again, I'm going to tell you again, this whole bottom has to be, and when I do whittle it, see, I'm remembering stuff. I have a block of wood. Now this one's got multiple holes in it, but I only use 2 of them. And this one here is a hole drilled the same size as I'm going to drill in the chair. And see, that goes in that hole. I have to sort of work it in, but it goes in and fits like that. And this hole is like 1 size bigger on your drill index. And when you're whittling, you can try in this hole, and if it won't go in this hole, make sure it gets into this hole, and then fit it into this hole very carefully you don't want it too loose. So you have to get yourself a block of wood and drill at least 2 holes in it, one the actual size and one just slightly bigger. So I'm going to put all this stuff away. Throw it out of the way. And then I'm going to get a chair back up here. That's a chair back, you know, when it's completely made except for the slats. And then I've got this here piece of wood that I use to mark the holes. And this piece of wood this dimension here is 1 15/16 inches. And from the edge of the piece of wood to the center of the hole is 11/64. And then from this shoulder here to the center of the hole is also 11/64. And I've got a hole here right in the middle. If you want to just do 1 peg per slat, you can use a middle hole. But I generally always use 2 pegs per slat. And so what I do is when I just lay that on there and I center this on the slat, and then I put my 2 marks in there like that. And once you got this thing, it doesn't take long to mark these marks. So I mark all the holes like that. And then I'm going to drill the holes. Now here's the drill bit. And that's kind of a brad point bit that's got sharp cutters on the corners right here. And it's a 3/16 bit. And this piece here is cut, the length of it is cut specifically for this drill. And when the bit is all the way in the chuck, bottomed out, that's leaving 5/8 of an inch out. So that hole, if I have this on there, that hole is going to be 5/8 of an inch deep, maybe even a little bit plus on the 5/8. Anyways, this drill stop, I can take it off to clear the chips, and I also can hold it with my finger so it doesn't spin. If it spins when you get down against the wood, it makes a mark on the wood. I don't want that. So I hold it like this. And when you drill these holes, you drill them perpendicular to this face here. This one's going to go in, you know, at some angle like that, and these ones are going to go in at an angle like this. Now I can just reach over Now sometimes when you break through from one piece of wood to the other, you get what I call a donut on the drill bit, and it doesn't want to go. Sometimes it just drills right through, sometimes it stops you. That one stopped me. I might have been able to press through it, but I didn't. And then I can clear the chips out like that. Drill another hole. And then I can drill on this side too. And I've sort of got my back turned to you. So I'm just going to drill that many holes. Now you want to be real careful when you drill those holes and drill them straight in. You don't want to be wallering around at all. Now once you get all your holes drilled, I just rub that sandpaper on there like that to smooth that up. Now I'm going to change. I've got one over here. I've got this one completely drilled. I'm just going to set it right here. And anyways, and I've got my pegs already made. They're in this here jar. You know, a finished peg can look like this or like this. This one's just got a little longer head. It doesn't much matter how long that head is. Anyways, you get your little scrap of wood, put a little glue on it, get your trusty nail. Again, this is a 6-penny coated sinker. It's not very big. Just get a little bit of the glue on the end of the nail, something like that. And without getting any glue outside the hole, put a little glue in that hole. Okay, I told you what that nail was, but it's probably can't even find that nail. So that nail is 6/64, so that's 3/32. That's the diameter of that nail. 3/32. Anyways, once I put my glue in, I take my 220 sandpaper again and do that just to make sure there's no glue sticking out. And I get a peg, and when I put these in, I put them in so the squareness is perpendicular to the floor. And I put the growth ring going across this way. And I try to keep them square to the floor. And I tap that in just enough so that all that round disappears and just end up with square. I'm looking at them to make sure I can tell where the growth ring is. Sometimes it's kind of, I can't tell where the growth ring is. Now, I made all these pegs out of this exact same wood that I made the chair out of. Like I said, I saved out pieces with bigger growth rings, and I was able to make pegs that just had one early wood going right across the center as best I could. Some of them aren't exactly in the center, but I tried. All right, so there's some pegs in there like that. So I'm not sure it matters or not, but maybe it's a good idea to let the glue dry before you do the next step. So I've got another back here that I did a little while ago that I've got all the pegs in. Got them all in. But see, they all got heads sticking up. So the next step is to cut those heads off. And I used this piece of metal and I measured it, but I forgot the measurement. Oh yeah. The measurement is somewhere, the thickness of this piece of metal is about 3/64. I don't know what that relates to. It kind of looks like a piece of an erector set to me, but I don't know for sure. But I use that piece of metal as my spacer. I put it on there like that, and I've got a hacksaw that's set up to cut sideways. And I hold this flat down, and I saw these off like so. And when you're doing this, you just got to be careful not to bump into these slats. And you got to be careful to keep your saw flat against the top of the metal so you don't scar up the post. So you go up here and you cut all these off, and then you're going to have to turn your chair around to cut that other side off. I wasn't completely prepared. And I use this spoon gouge. There's a spoon gouge I use. And I'm going to use that to trim this head to what shape I want it. And I trim it to what I call a flat top pyramid. And you're not going to be able to see this very good, but I'm going to cut all 4 of the sides off of it. And then I'm going to make a flat top on it. And I'm doing this while I'm trying to not pry against the face here. I'm trying to make a slicing cut. And I know it's hard for you to see, but I'm going to do the far side and cut across that way. Then I'm going to do this one. I'm going to make a slicing cut that way. And then I'm going to cut the top off. I'm going to just I'll do one more. But I'm going to do this far side over here, and I'm going to make a slicing cut this way. I'm going to do this side here, and I'm going to make a slice and cut that way. I'm going to do this upper side, make a cut that way. And this one I'm going to make a cut that way. And I'm going to cut the top off. Now, I would generally do all 6 of them, and then I would take my 220 sandpaper and just very lightly go on this. And if I happen to have made any dents into the posts, I'd get them out, but I just lightly sand that, very lightly, just to make sure there's no sharp edges or anything. And then I end up looking something like that. Anyways, that's you know, pretty quick explanation of that. But I think, you know, you gotta all of this stuff I'm showing you how I do it, and you can't expect to do it as fast and easy as I make it look. You've got to practice, but I think you can do it. I've seen lots of people do it. And it's just, it makes your chair look a lot better, and probably a lot stronger. In the old days, these pegs actually held these slats in. Now we glued the slats in, and so we've got double hold power. We've got the glue, and now we got the pegs. Anyways, another thing you can do is you can make the pegs a different color. I've made them out of ebony and walnut and stuff like that, and some people like that, some people don't. Anyways, that's a long enough video, I think, and I think it's episode 19 now. It's a lot of episodes, but I think a few people are following along, and I hope you're getting something out of this. I'm putting this out there just because I want to put it out there. The information that I think I know. I mean, I know how to do the way I do it, and I think it's good I just want to put it out there. So anyways, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the comments you give, and I'm getting close to having this set of chairs done. I'm getting a little antsy about it, but it slows me down to have to make the videos, but I want to make the videos. And so the next video will probably be drilling the front, drilling the back, and we'll get to that. I'll get to that pretty soon. All right. I hope you're having a good day out there. I'm having a good day here, and I'm thankful, and I hope you can be thankful. Thanks for watching. See you another time.